Everybody, welcome back to the HallHShow. We are at DesignerCon 2017, and we happen to come across a good friend of ours, Mr. Gmonik here.
All right.
From San Diego as well. Welcome to the show, Gmonik.
Well, nice to see you.
Yeah. If you look at the awesome backdrop of some of your artwork, this is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we love your work. And this is the beauty of like being here at DesignerCon is that you come across different types of art and medium. So I guess I'll start off right off the bat. Why should somebody come to DesignerCon?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's because it has a lot of variety. You know what I mean? You're seeing all kinds of different talents and different skill sets kind of all meshed up together. You know, it's like plushes and you know, different artistries. You know, that's what I appreciate. Like, everybody has their own idea of what's cool, and everybody's bringing their cool to the table with you know, their stuff.
Right. And how many years have you been coming to DesignerCon?
This is going to be our fourth.
Fourth year?
Yeah.
And how has it changed in recent years?
It's evolved a lot. Before, you know, it's like, well, when I first started, I came with a group of people. Now I'm on my own, and it's a different experience. You know, as things expand, you know, like it's kind of growing as a convention in itself. So I'm kind of curious to see how things evolve. Like if it's going to be more toys, or it's going to be more movie stuff, or, you know, kind of similar to Comic-Con. But, you know, I like what they're doing. It's fun environment, and there's a lot of collectors here too.
Oh, definitely. So. One thing that I've noticed, and it's something that I still see this year, is that there's a big like push for like 3D printed artwork.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm curious to see how far people can take it.
Well, that's a great thing. I mean, even across the booth from us, like they have you know, a whole costume all made out of 3D printed stuff.
Oh wow, let's check it out.
And so it's like, you know, the imagination's endless now. It's like, you know, people can make their own costumes, or, you know, maybe they're going to 3D print a car, you know what I mean? Whatever.
So obviously, you know, being artistic comes from somewhere. I mean, if you can maybe go back in time, do you remember when you first had that spark? Like what that was like, what you were doing?
Well, I could tell you when I really started getting into art is when I was a kid. I got hit by a car.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I have the scar to prove it right here.
Oh snap.
But like it kind of made me an introverted kid, and then, like, you know, I use art to kind of express myself, and so like it just evolved into sculptures. So, but I usually started out with drawing sketches, and, you know, it just evolved from there.
So sculptures is where you first sort of gravitated toward?
Well, it's where I ended up right now.
Okay.
But originally I was a painter, and I still spray paint and do other things.
I remember. I think I saw one of a few of your murals. I think in sort of like in.
I'm getting the walls. I'm out there.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. You know, I mean, like, I haven't really been pushing myself, but last year I was really like trying to get some walls, so it's coming around.
I think I saw one of your pieces at I think a restaurant in Barrio Logan down in San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a Border X. Border X. They have that over there.
That was pretty sick. I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Now, obviously, when you were younger, until now, can you sort of maybe describe your creative journey? I think you mentioned earlier that you went to film school.
Yes, I attended film school. You know, like a lot of ambitious people, they kind of go to the, you know, reach for Hollywood dreams and stuff like that. But then I realized my personality isn't really to follow. I'm supposed to do my own thing, you know. And it's like when you find out that your passions, it kind of takes you in different directions, and that's kind of where like I'm at now, where everything that I do is because I choose it, and not because the society is saying, hey, you should just be that type of person, you know. So like everything I'm trying to be about is just creativity, you know, originality, uniqueness, and you know, fun.
So how do you decide what kind of sculptures you're gonna do? Like, what's the
Well, my process for creating these sculptures is I collect stuff. I'm a bit of a hoarder.
Okay.
So I got piles of things at my house, and just kind of like I just collect things, and then I let the pieces kind of tell me what it wants to be. You know, like I'll see, like for instance, this one has an elephant. I had the elephant head, so I created a whole thing around like the history of the elephants holding up the world.
Oh, like in India.
Those
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of want to do an homage to that, and like, you know, like a lot of the other pieces, like I'm really into conspiracies. But I appreciate it for the idea, because like the ideas, they exist in the universe. Like our world is like, we are, you know, I like to imagine what it would be like if it was real. You know what I mean? If it's a true thing, and it's like, well, what would that look like? You know what I mean? Is it real? So like, I like to play with that idea, but I just want to have fun, you know, make things that people enjoy looking at, and hopefully they want to take it home and collect it, you know.
So besides your murals and sculptures, what other artistic mediums are you working on?
Oh, I'm a big martial arts enthusiast.
Okay.
I kind of look at everything as art, you know what I mean? Because it's all self-expression. So if we're expressing ourselves through our art, then, you know, nothing's really wrong. It's just how we deal our time.
I think Bruce Lee said it, like for him, martial arts was how you can honestly express yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, everything, you know, everybody's looking for an audience for whatever it is they do. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're doing it because it's you, or you're doing it to make the audience happy. And I feel like that's the delicate balance, you know, of trying to make things, you know, it's like, is everything just your perspective? I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously, when it comes to art, it is your perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, like when it comes, we mentioned Bruce Lee just a little while ago, and basically his principles when it comes to Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
I mean, the principles are there, but it's up to you to sort of make it your own, right?
Yes.
So that's the way art is, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't subscribe to any particular point of view anymore, just because, you know, things are always constantly changing. You know, it's like one minute things are this way and the next minute it's something else, you know? So it's like, if you're not ready to change with those things as they evolve, you can get left behind, you know? And so like, even with like the wave of computers and technology, it's like technology is constantly evolving, and it's also changing our society. You know, it's like our culture is evolved from that technology. So with that being what it is, it's like, you know, old throwbacks who remember the days before internet, you know, it's like, you know, like we're all kind of slow to catch on. So, you know, I'm kind of trying to stay, I guess, relevant to where I'm at. Like, you know, I want to be a man of my time, you know, and be able to do things, you know, I don't want to be handicapped with technology taking over, and everybody's kind of like, oh, well, you're not economically viable anymore because you know, you're not, no, I don't know. I guess it's a conspiracy's creeping in anymore.
Well, you mentioned handicapped, and obviously when it comes to, you know, honestly expressing yourself, there may be some things that may handicap you from doing so. You had touched upon something a little bit earlier before the interview about depression. I'm hoping you can maybe talk about it a little bit, so that maybe there might be somebody out there who can benefit from your experiences and how you overcame it.
Well, I mean, ultimately, and this I think is true for everyone, you got to look at yourself. You got to look at what you are and what you represent. And if you're coming out in the world and showcasing yourself as a certain type of person, you kind of forget who you really are, you know, especially when you're trying to sell things. It's like, because, I mean, you know, as an artist, you want people to appreciate what you do, but sometimes that doesn't always come across, you know. It's like people just kind of, you know, like it, but for the depression aspect, it's just more of loving yourself, you know, appreciating what you have, and you know that everybody starts from the bottom. You know, nobody's starting off from the top or already coming with all kinds of stuff, you know. It's just like, it's the hard road that you got to realize that's what makes you as an artist. All these people here, they're really talented, but they didn't have it easy. You know, that's why they're in the spotlight, because they worked for that. They're not over here just waiting for handouts. So that's ultimately what it comes down to. If you got the balls to fucking take the risk and do it for you, and not wait for somebody to come at you and say, hey, I like what you're doing, let me see if I can make money from you and do it. That's a different balance, you know. It's like, but as far for me, I just quit drinking. That really changed it for me. Like, as soon as I stopped drinking and I switched to smoking flowers, it really changed. It changed my life. It really did. I mean, like I really appreciate what I have and where I've come from, and you know, and stop resenting, like, you know, because everybody has an origin story, and you know, sometimes your origins aren't always good, but that's what makes you into the person that you become in the future. Definitely. So,
speaking about the future, you had mentioned that you sort of want to parlay what you learned in film school into something. You want to go into that a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, my next ambition is to get into the YouTube universe. I mean, I have videos already, but most of them are just kind of like things that I've done. I wanna try to make a show and basically just kind of showcase my mind, because I have all kinds of ideas, I don't have all the outlets to kind of put it out. So I'm just gonna make it a TV station off of YouTube. Like basically my channel is gonna be my TV station.
There you go.
And so whatever I come up with, I have all kinds of funny ideas. Hopefully they'll make it out into the universe and then people see them.
Does your mind look like this?
You know, well, I look at things in systems. You know, everything has a system. So if you break things down and kind of like see the components of that system, and that's kind of the evolution of a lot of these things, because like, you know, I'm taking pre-existing items and then taking them apart and seeing how they work, and, you know, using those pieces in my own interpretation. But, you know, like ultimately, whatever, you know, it's like we're all spending our day doing something, you know, and it's like, if you spend it on something that you created versus somebody else's creation, like if you spend all day playing video games or watching movies, like I do that. I do watch video games and play video games and watch movies. But it's, you know, I want to showcase a different view on the world, you know, and that's kind of how I'm looking at a lot of the stuff now. It's like I'm not trying to follow anybody else's, you know, success. Basically, like I'm trying to make my own.
And I guess for our audience who aren't watching this video and are listening on our podcast, maybe can you just describe this piece just really quickly?
Okay, so the title of this piece is called "The Guardian," and the idea came about. It was kind of like she's like a warrior princess, and she lives in a castle, but like, you know, she's defending it against evil spirits. And that was the intention behind it.
See a lot of Asian influence in there.
There's a lot of Asian influence, as well as I mean, like I play a lot. I see a lot of like images out in the internet, and you know, it's like you can't help when you see something, you can't help but be like influenced by it, I guess. Yeah. It's like we're bombarded with images all day, so like I choose things based off of what I like. So if I like it, then I was like, okay, I'll go with that. But everything all the things that I make, I try to create a story and a history, because without the history, it means nothing. You know what I mean? It's like it has, well, at least for me, like I have to have that backstory in order for me to make the piece, or else I get bored with it.
Right. Now your show, you said it's going to deal with puppets?
They are going to have puppets, because that's one of my what was that? I'm really passionate about like just the artistry of it. You know what I mean? It's like I watched a lot of Labyrinth and Never-Ending Stories as a kid.
Like Dark Crystal type.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like when I look at that, it's like, you know, you're making somebody's hand is making a puppet come alive. So if you can build characters around puppets, I mean, and even today we're talking with somebody about it, and it's like, well, what if your puppet gets famous? I was like, could you imagine if your puppet is more famous than you, and nobody cares to talk to you? They just want to know what your puppet's doing. So it's just like, you know, I think that's a fun thing, you know, being able to kind of like have different, I guess, personalities kind of showcase. So.
And so when do you think we'll be able to see something with these puppets?
Well, I'm making plans to do a lot of that stuff for the next coming year.
Okay.
I mean, I usually it's hard for me to
you got my interest peaked. Man.
All right,
I want to check it out.
No, don't even worry, because it's gonna be super sick. I like it's gonna be outrageous, to put it like that. But it's definitely gonna be fun.
Nice.
And it's like a lot of the stuff that I'm moving towards now, because a lot of this work is very dark, because that's where I was at when I was making it.
Right.
So now it's evolving into a little bit more of like enjoying and appreciating life. So it's like I want to be able to showcase that, and I think I could do that with puppets, because it's like it's not so serious. You know, nobody's gonna look at that. It's like, you know, it's like that doesn't have high production value. It's like, no, it's puppets. You know, whatever.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to checking it out, man.
Yeah.
I guess we'll start wrapping up the show. Is there any piece of advice you can give out to somebody out there who's sort of is on the cusp of trying to push their art to the next level?
I would just say, always evolve yourself, and believe what you're doing is good, and then when you put it out there, don't let anybody else tell you it isn't. You know, because it's like if you like it, that's all that matters. and it's like you'll find out what works and what doesn't work. Maybe that's a little bit more, but
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And just one thing before I let you go, I'm always curious what kind of music people listen to, especially when they're creating.
Okay.
Like what's on your playlist? What do you listen to?
Okay. Well, I'm a bit of a mixed bag, but I guess my top would be I was always a new wave kid.
Okay.
I love like Cure,
New Order,
New Order, all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, but I also love, I enjoy a lot of rap music and stuff like that too. So if it sounds good, I'll listen.
Yeah. I guess one last question is something that I like to ask our guests every once in a while is if there was a real or fictional person out there that you wanted to have a meal with, just to shoot the shit and get to know them, who would it be and where would you eat?
I don't know. That's a bit hard one. I don't. Give me more parameters. I don't know, because like it's just anybody and whoever existed.
Anybody who ever existed.
All right.
We talked Bruce Lee earlier. I don't know if you're a Bruce Lee fan, but that'd be one of my choices that I definitely want to have a meal with.
Maybe somebody who was out of this time. I'm thinking maybe somebody, a high-level Egyptian,
okay.
or maybe the first man who ever existed in the world, or first woman. I don't know.
Right.
Because their perspective would be a huge difference from what ours would.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting. I don't know.
Is there any place that you'd want to take that person to eat?
Under a waterfall, maybe. I don't know. There is a place in, I think it's Peru or something like that. Well, when it rains.
In Peru?
I think it might be Peru or something like that. But when it rains, the sand it turns into a mirror, so it reflects the sky. So it looks like you're walking in the sky.
Yeah.
That I want to see that place before I die. Because they say that's the closest thing to like heaven on earth.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
So I saw a picture and it's gorgeous. So I want to be able to put myself in that place. So.
Have you watched the Stranger Things?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's on your Netflix too?
Well, Stranger Things is on there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I watch a lot of grindhouse stuff. I like the trashy stuff. I enjoy like bad movies.
Like Rob Zombie, Quentin Tarantino stuff?
More of the older stuff,
okay.
like Toxic Avenger or even like Super Ninjas. It's like I'm a big fan of those like throwbacks from that time.
One of my friends, I don't know if you're familiar with his work. His name is Orlando Arocena. He goes by Mexifunk. He's a badass vector artist.
Okay.
Anyway, he used to work for Toxic Avenger.
Lloyd Kaufman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think it was for James Gunn, the director.
Yes. A lot of people came out of that, like out of Trauma.
Trauma.
His company, it's independent, but a lot of first-time starters, they come out through that like house. So it's good. I wish there was a lot more independent people just trying to make things that aren't studio. And they might be, because all the YouTube stuff they're evolving, getting better. Now it's like, if you have a good idea, it doesn't matter.
Speaking of ideas on YouTube, we're looking forward to your YouTube channel.
Hey, well, it'll grow for sure, because that's the next direction I'm going.
Where can people find you online?
Just look up Gmonik.com, but I'm usually on Instagram and Facebook, all that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we missed that you want our audience to know about?
I don't know. Maybe next year you'll talk to me and I have it. I don't know. Yeah.
And I'd be remiss to give a shout out to Danielle over here. Why don't you get her, Danielle?
She's my crime partner.
Yeah.
She makes my dreams true.
Say a little something.
I'm really tired, but it's been super fun. And yeah.
Well, it's good to see both of you again. And we look forward to seeing you at DesignerCon again next year. And we'll get you on the podcast again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. See you later, guys. Peace. Cheers.